Good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. Let me start off by thanking a few people. It's very important that we do that. I want to thank the 7th Precinct officers, our Gang Intelligence Unit, our NIBIN, our National Integrated Ballistic Information Network team, our Commercial Auto Theft team, our Fast Fugitive Apprehension Service team, our Homicide Task Force, our Wayne County Sheriff's Office Tether Unit, our Oakland County Sheriff's Department is part of our CATS Task Force. The Dearborn Police Department, also part of our CATS Task Force, which is commercial auto theft. Wayne State Police, part of our CATS Task Force. FBI, ATF, Homeland Security, and the Michigan State Police. As you can see by those thank yous, everyone involved, every officer, every unit that we could pull together to help investigate this was sickened by this tragedy, unnecessary tragedy, and they have worked diligently. So I think they deserve for me to pause and thank them diligently and nonstop to bring some justice to this family. I also want to thank our community for their cooperation. There's been a lot of conversations and interviews and search warrants and talking to people who know people, and in large part our community is in full support of this police department and sick of this unnecessary violence in our community. Sadly, this tragic event has the worst possible outcome. This beautiful 11-year-old girl is likely to lose her life. It's almost a certainty. Her family is working through right now the last moments of her life and making a decision to do the unspeakable, something a parent should never have to think about doing, and that is taking their child off of life support. I speak for our officers, our investigators, our command team, and every member of this department when I say that we are furious over this incident and this senseless violence. I brag about this department being tenacious, working very hard, reducing crime at levels we haven't seen since 1966, but you just can't police stupidity. And when adults decide to bring children into their confrontations and conflicts, that's just completely unacceptable. I don't want anybody to take my delivery, my measured delivery when I have these press conferences into thinking that we are not passionate, focused, and determined to get these folks off the street. We will be relentless. If you choose to victimize our community, you hurt children, we're going to use every single tool at our disposal, every partnership that we have to get you off the street so that you can't hurt anybody else. We've had a situation most recently that was very complex. I talked about it a little bit earlier this week, where our commercial auto theft team was already investigating auto theft ring. We have reason to believe that this senseless tragedy involves a few members of that team. We cannot correlate anything from what we found thus far to the causation of what happened to this poor little girl. This was a beautiful young 11-year-old girl who was laying in her bed or laying on the couch sleeping after doing a TikTok video. Something that you want all our kids to be able to do, enjoy being at home and to have safety. And these cowards who were having a conflict with one of the many adults inside the house decided to recklessly fire 23 rounds inside of this home without any regard for any of the people inside the home, and certainly without any regard for this 11-year-old girl who was sleeping on a sofa, struck in her head, and now going to lose her life. I am going to name these cowards because I have to tell you who they are. The only name we should be saying is Lamara's name, but I'm going to give you their name so you know who they are, and hopefully someone who's sitting at home thinking of doing the same thing or contemplating making the decisions that they have made that will likely result in them being in jail for the rest of their lives will make a different decision. We have to care about our children. We have to care about our elderly. We have to care about the things that make sense and not shooting 23 bullets into a crowded house because you're having a conflict with one person inside of the home. The first person that's been placed in custody and charged is Mr. Nasir Garrett. He's 19 years old himself. He's been charged with 9 counts of assault with intent to commit murder, 1 count of discharging a firearm into a building causing serious impairment, and a 10-count felony firearm. The other suspect is Robert Lee Turner, 20-year-old. 1 count of felon in possession, 1 count of felon in possession of ammunition, 2 counts of felony firearm, 1 count of accessory after the fact, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. 18-year-old Takari Turner, 9 counts of assault with intent to murder, 1 count of discharging a firearm into a building causing serious impairment, and 10 counts of felony firearm. 19 years old, or 18 years old. We know that our community deserves better. Our community has helped us with this case. If you know someone who is contemplating doing something this ridiculous, talk to them. But we are going to be relentless in pursuing those who victimize our community. Relentless. We're going to use technology. We're going to use these partnerships that you see behind me, and we're going to get these folks off the street, period. Unapologetically. We're going to lock you up. With that, I'll take any questions.
Sheriff, can you talk first of all about the relationship with car thefts? Was one of the vehicles stolen from the ring last week used in this particular event?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. One of the vehicles was recovered. Again, we don't have any connectivity to what happened with them shooting with this ring. We don't know if there was some conflict that came out of that. The investigators are still working through that part of it.
Were they driving one of the stolen vehicles?
Yes, they were.
At the scene?
Yes, they were.
Chief, the other day you mentioned December there was a similar incident at this home. Not that anything would ever justify what's occurred here, but have you been any further along as to whom they were targeting? Was it the same person from 2-3 months ago, or what was the reason for this?
Yeah, we're still working through all of the connectivity there. There's some gang activity we're looking at, that we're looking at doing some disruptions and getting those answers. What we're confident in now is the 3 suspects that we've identified that were charged today by the prosecutor, who I want to thank for her expeditious response in this case. Very, very happy with the charging decision, and very happy that they were bound over or charged and the warrant was signed. But we just haven't gotten into the weeds of that, or at least I haven't been prepped on it yet. They're continuing to work this case. They're continuing to investigate all aspects. In fact, we're even looking at more suspects.
Chief,
Can you
about the other
characterize
2
the
people
dispute?
that were arrested also the other day, because you've charged 3, you had 5 in custody, if I had it right. What about the other 2?
Yeah, they're still working through what part they played in it. And as you can see by the charging, that there are a variety of different things that was charged, from tampering with evidence to being in possession of ammunition. The investigators are tenacious. They are looking at every aspect of this case. As I indicated, they are looking at even more people, and more charges could be coming. But we are confident in the 3 that were charged thus far and the roles that they played. But there's other pieces of it that we're looking at that we'll have a decision on soon.
Chief, can you characterize the dispute? What it was that was at play here?
We don't know all the details of that. Well, I don't know all the details. I'm sure the investigators have a working theory that I wasn't prepped on. The key on this for me was that we identified a suspect, that we bring some closure to this family. I don't know if you saw her mother, who was on the news last night on one of the stations. You can just hear the pain in her voice, having to make the decision to disconnect her only child from life support. So we wanted to bring some closure and some justice to this family. Regardless of what the dispute was about, it should not have led to an 11-year-old being shot in the head by adults who should have made better decisions. Even criminals need to make better decisions. That was a ridiculous decision, and now they get to be the living example of what happens when you make that type of decision, because they're going to spend the rest of their lives in prison if they're convicted.
Chief, can you talk at all about the auto theft ring? You said that there were some people involved in it. Do we know how involved, and was the ring itself part of what sort of led to this?
So we have a number of vehicles involving a number of people that were stolen. Okay, and we also have some of those people who are tied to this case. So clearly, there's a connection to the people who stole the vehicles, the ring, but at this point, we don't see a connection that led to the shooting. We just don't see it yet, but that doesn't mean we won't.
Sorry about that, we have one more
And
question.
Chief, this is from George Hunter from the Detroit News. You mentioned technology. His question is, was technology used in this case?
Absolutely it was. Every bit of technology that we have was used. Every one of the relationships that we have in this police department was used. The Wayne County Sheriff, the Michigan State Police, the Wayne State Police, and yes, we unapologetically use technology. In large part, our community deserves us to use every tool that we have to use technology to bring justice to these families. So absolutely, yes.
Chief, may I ask a question of the sheriff?
Yes.
Sheriff, as I understand your tether program, that when somebody leaves a location when they're wearing a tether, that an alarm goes off so that your monitors understand that the person on the tether is gone. Mr. Garrett was on tether. Did you get an alarm? Was there an alert? And was there an attempt to find him prior to the shooting?
So actually, he was not out in any kind of illegal zone that he should not have been in. But what our officers did in the sheriff's office was simply look at the area where they thought cameras may be and where the shooting happened, and we found out that one of the perpetrators had been in that area, was in that area at the time of the shooting. And we do that through the technology that we have because he was on tether. And so what we did was go to the gas station and pull footage and saw where the car that he was driving matched the tether that he was driving, the timestamp, the tether that he was wearing. And then we found out where he lived and went to the house and just held the house while the DPT and the FAST unit were able to get a search warrant and apprehend this guy.
Should not his tether have warned you that he had left? In other words, that it doesn't work that way anymore if you leave?
Oh,
with a
no,
tether
no,
on, you're
it
free to
will
go.
if you're in the zone where you should not be. But what our officer did was just take the initiative to find out where this shooting happened, to find out where, if anyone that was wearing a tether that's in our custody, were they in the area, and fortunately enough, he was.